So yeah, this I was just scrolling on YouTube and I found this video. And it's called Against Efilism, and yeah, we'll sort of respond to it. 'Cause, let's see, and also this comment on my mm, video of mine. It's birth is a worse crime than murder. Yeah, so we'll do that, and let's start with that first. I mean, this is just so stupid. Okay. And what else? Oh yeah, I also wanted to, you know, I had a conversation with Mushroom Coyote, and yeah, it was really nice, and at the same page when it comes to what like how do these breediots, you know, again they're breediots, right? They're just so yeah, it was a really nice channel. It's always nice to because it's very rare when you to find genuine people who who are real and talk about like how what they're dealing with, and yeah, it's good stuff. You check. I'll link it down below. Mushroom Coyote guy, and yeah, let's now start with what do we do first? We go with the video, or let's just take this. Yeah, so this is this guy, whoever this asshole is, Mickey Farley. I just read the comment. This is just another one of these nihilist retards. The nihilists who think that there's everything is suffering isn't. It's just subjective. You're just it's your subjective. It's all subjective kind of bullshit argument. So this is what he writes on my video on comments. Birth is a worse crime than murder, and this is what he says. The problem with people like you is you think not wanting to die is somehow more subjective than when antinatalists want the surface of the earth to resemble Mars. What? Not wanting to die is somehow more subjective. More subjective? Who? What do you mean by more subjective or less subjective? What is this crap? Either it's subjective bullshit or you have good reasons to believe in it, to make an argument for it. Then when anti-natalists want the surface of Earth to resemble Mars, it's not what that we want this. It's where the logic leads towards. It's recognizing that sentience is negative, suffering. Negative has to and Mars we look at Mars logically. There's no negative there, and there's plenty of negative on this fucking Earth. So it's not. It's, of course, we would want the logical thing to happen, the right fucking thing to happen, and we're arguing for it. It's not. We're not. It's not just somehow we've made it up. No, we've calculated it, and we present you the arguments. So this is just so stupid. These are subjective valuations. Yeah. So all right. These are subjective. Of course, like it's going to you're going to be like engage. If you're going to engage with someone, of course you're going to have to you're going to give an argue, talk about something, and you're going to have a subjective point of view involved, but that doesn't make the logic like it's just you have to argue the logic. And first of all, we have to recognize that hey, I don't want to be tortured. Yeah, be honest and recognize that, yeah, I don't want to be tortured, and I wouldn't want someone to impose torture on me for their happy whatever. So yeah, even if it's subjective, you can recognize, yeah, but the torture is no, no, no. Don't, I don't want to do that. So then he's like, these are subjective valuations, and they are always relative to the value maker, the mind. Obviously, yeah, that's the thing. Once you're gonna create, that's why Mars is better. There are no minds, there are no brains who have to do this shit unless you have evidence that the desire to reduce suffering is somehow more objective. What the fuck is this crap? More, it's like it's an imperative now. It's recognizing that existence, suffering, negative, end. Yeah, that's that's where it leads to. It's not what is this more objective? This is so crap than any other value. Shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up. And it's like more object. What are your? What is the other value? What is this value of existence? What is it accomplishing? Why is it valuable? Why is it uh, a negative thing if it doesn't exist? And I can argue if by looking at the evidence, yes, it's a negative thing when it's obvious when you're seeing existence. It's obvious that it's a negative fucking thing. So shut the fuck up. All right, let's go with this one. Wait a minute. Where did our video go? Okay. Yeah, this one. And this is old video, 1 year old video. So let's first read what he's saying here in the description. This is the Andrew whatever this is. So yeah, while Gary and other atheists are fa- falling short of saying outright go and kill, they are definitely saying that murdering people is not only acceptable but ethically warranted. The circumstances they say are warranted are not to do with self defense but calculated targeting of innocent people. It, innocent people, usually women are in the examples they give. It doesn't matter if they're serious or not, or even how aware they are of what they're doing. It also doesn't matter if other atheists don't agree while they're not speaking against it. These views are expressed online in the name of Efilism in both private and public social media. That in itself has the potential for danger. At the very least, anyone with skirk of what is this crap? Skirk of common sense would not want to be in a position of supporting Efilism. Ah, so let's start with this. If he's saying if you have common sense, you wouldn't want to be in a position of supporting the you know the ending the endless cycle of suffering that we can point it out with evidence that that is happening every fucking day. And this murder thing, yeah, this is because we're not stopping it. This is because you're just making this tripe that, oh, we'll just wait and see what happens. That's why all the murders are happening. You stupid fuck. So let's start with this.
At the moment, it's clear that there is a division developing between antinatalism and Efilism. This is a good thing. We need to have as much distance between the two.
Antinatalism and Efilism. Like, this is. Whatever you want to use, the argument is simple. Do you recognize life is a harm? Yes or no? If it's yes, then the logic follows that it should be ended. It should not be perpetuated. It should be prevented in the future. That's it.
As possible. That Efilism is not.
And this whole, like, what is this distinction? You just want to stick to the humans? No, no, just the humans. Don't harm the animals. Like, what is this distinction? What are you making this antinatalism? What is this crap?
The same thing as antinatalism, nor a logical extension of it should be obvious by now.
It should be obvious by now. What is? Yeah, animals shouldn't breed. It's wrong that animals breed. Human and non-human. Why? Because it causes suffering to the being who will be to the beings who will who are imposed, who have been imposed now. They're going to have to go through all of this shit, and it's a violation of consent, right? Like, this is so stupid. That's what it is. That's what things. That's why it matters, right? Even if you want, what are you going to do with it? Antinatalism. Your logical, uh, you know. This is where you're going to lead to that. Yes, it's extinction. What else is? Obviously, if it's wrong, then we have to stop. If it's a harm to the being who will now be born, and we don't know how bad the harm could be, then yes, birth is the worst. Like, this is the worst crime. It should be stopped. Whether the animals are doing it or whether the humans, it doesn't matter. If you're intelligent, you recognize that it's causing harm. Stop it.
The argument has been made many times. Efilism distinguishes itself with its pro-mortalism.
And how have you argued that promotalism is invalid? Hmm? How is that a harm to the being who's now dead? How is an instantaneous death not the best thing that can happen to a sentient being? How? That's right. You don't have any argument.
To such a degree that Gary and other Efilists are publicly stating that it is acceptable to murder.
Acceptable? Like, we're in a. It's like, what the fuck is this, guys? We're living in a civilization where we have these social constructs and of like 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 of course we can't murder. It's going to be like we don't have the power to do it, and what do you mean by murder? And we're basically saying that ending existence. Now you can call it murder if you want. You can call someone ending existence murder, and I would say, uh, even if it is murder, if there's a logical argument to be made that hey, if we end the existence of life on Earth, it will prevent all the future murders. Yeah, then it's not just acceptable; it's the imperative.
It's a matter of time before such a thing is attempted. We know that people.
There are crazy people who do crazy stuff. Who like this is so again like people listen to hip hop music and they get young and teens and all of that, and they're like they copy what they're taught, they listen to in the music, and they cause violence. So that's like this is so stupid.
People have had to be talked out of such acts before now. For anyone, Gary, Amanda, anyone involved in the ANI, any online Efilist, to promote Efilism is to promote an ideology that has at its core the unethical premise that murder is acceptable.
Unethical premise that murder is acceptable, and like first of all, uh, what's the what's the counter? Lifeism. And I would say lifeism, murder, rape, torture, you know, betrayal, heartbreak, yeah, everything is acceptable. So if you're not an Ephilist, then your ideology has a unethical premise at its core, which is, yeah, don't end life, let this murder perpetuate. So this guy is saying we're for murder, but actually you are for murder if you're not uh, willing to recognize the fact that yes, to prevent the murders, there's going to be have to we're going to have to murder one generation to prevent all the future generations to get murdered.
It doesn't matter how they rationalise it. Or
What do you mean? You have a counter argument?
what is your solution then? And ridiculous.
What is your? Of course, like these people are like, yeah, we will solve the problem by doing nothing. It's so stupid. This is so stupid. I mean, what? You have to give like, first of all, where Efilism is about pointing out the reality, like explaining you the real context of the existence of life on Earth, and making the logical argument that hey, it's just unnecessary suffering. That's it. That's Efilism. You recognize that life is unnecessary suffering, and it shouldn't be imposed. That's it. And if it continues tomorrow, there's going to be imposition. So it's like it's first about all, it's about describing the problem, that this is evolution, or the whole context of existence on Earth. All the blood, all the suffering, all the years of, all the, and recognizing all the risks everything that could happen here. Now, how do we end it? That's a different question. You first have to recognize the fact that this is bullshit, and that's Efilism.
Attempts to calculate the level of the suffering as if suffering is something you tot up on a ledger like an accountant is all stupid bullshit.
It's what else is there? You stupid fuck. What's if one person suffers or two people suffer, which one would you choose if you only have one option to take in between these two? Nothing else changes in the world. This is the only thing. Either you allow one person to suffer or you allow two people to suffer. Which one will you choose? Stupid fucks. Ah.
So obvious that most of these Efilists, Gary included, are just talking tough online. The potential for real.
This is so like, what do you mean talking tough? Do you have a counter argument? Talking tough, of course, like, I've made this point before. If I would have had the power to make a red button, like, which annihilates the whole extinction, it extincts all the sentient life on Earth in my room, do you think I'll be making these videos? Come on.
The potential to add to the suffering of the world, not decrease it.
If you end life, you end suffering. You end sentient existence, you end suffering. Period.
Is there in Efilism? If for no other reason, the logical inconsistencies, the ridiculous science.
Logical inconsistencies, which
Fiction scenarios of blowing up the world, the pretense
blowing up the world, like this is, you have to recognize the point is accelerating extinction, accelerating it, because we know the longer it takes, the more suffering there's going to be, as Benatar says, right? We don't know when it's going to happen, but we can accelerate it. We should be accelerating it. So we prevent. The longer it takes, the more suffering there's going to be. You have to recognize that.
caring about suffering.
Pretense caring about suffering. We're talking about the victims of your existence, of the existence that you've said, yeah, it's all okay, don't kill us, we're having so much fun, that suffering is worth it. No, we're saying no, it's not worth it, you stupid fuck.
It is for this reason, Efilism promoting murder, that makes it potentially legitimately dangerous outside of
Potentially he's using all these words. This is so bullshit. This is such a bullshit argument.
the echo chambers of Efilists in the world the rest of us have to live in. Crimes of violence may happen as a result of Efilism.
Crimes of violence happen as a result of not accepting Efilism. Every day. Every day crimes of violence happen. Because you people think it's worth it. The suffering is worth it. Because you say so. Because you are addicted to living. You like living. So yeah, let suffering perpetuate. Because I'm getting a profit out of it. Fuck you.
Or they may not. I very much hope not. But the potential is definitely there, and Efilists can't pretend otherwise.
Potential is oh fuck. This is such a stupid argument. It's just so pathetic. I mean, these people are, again, it's the same thing. Either you are pro-life or you are pro-mortalist. Either you recognize that non-existence is better and existence is negative, so you go to better. Either you recognize this fact or you don't. That's it. It's just so. It should be obvious, especially if you are convinced that it's better never to have been. It's so pathetic. And let's watch. Ah, look at this, George Carlin. Yeah. And this, again, he's already made. It's sort like he's already made the argument for, this. Let's check this video. I like this sketch of Carlin's. It's called The Sanctity of Life. He's already made the promotalist argument in this one. Oh fuck.
Valentino.
Ooh, fucking. This is so sad.
Born in Roma for.
But you know, the longer you listen to this abortion debate, the more you hear this phrase, sanctity of life. You've heard that. Sanctity of life. You believe in it? Personally, I think it's a bunch of shit.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, life is sacred? Who said so? God? Hey, if you read history, you realize that God is one of the leading causes of death. Has been for thousands of years. Hindus, Muslims, Jews, Christians, all taking turns killing each other because God told them it was a good idea. The sword of God, the blood of the Lamb, vengeance is mine. Millions of dead motherfuckers. Millions of dead motherfuckers, all because they gave the wrong answer to the God question. You believe in God? No. Dead. You believe in God? Yes. You believe in my God? No. Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
My God has a bigger dick than your God.
This is what the human race has been through.
Thousands of years, and all the best wars, too. The bloodiest, most brutal wars fought, all based on religious hatred, which is fine with me, eh? Anytime a bunch of holy people want to kill each other, I'm a happy guy. But don't be giving me all this shit about the sanctity of life. I mean, even if there were such a thing, I don't think it's something you can blame on God. Now, you know where the sanctity of life came from? We made it up.
Exactly.
You know why? Because we're alive.
Exactly. Because we are alive. Because that's the whole fucking point.
Self-interest.
Self-interest.
Living people have a strong interest in promoting the idea that somehow life is sacred.
Exactly. That's the thing, right? You get he made the he's already made these arguments.
You don't see Abbott and Costello running around talking about this shit, do you? We're not hearing a whole lot from Mussolini on the subject. What's the latest from JFK? Not a goddamn thing. Because JFK, Mussolini, and Abbott and Costello are fucking dead.
Exactly.
They're fucking dead. And dead people give less than a shit about the sanctity
Exactly.
of life.
They don't give a shit.
Only living people care about it, so the whole thing grows out of a completely biased point of view. It's a self-serving, man-made bullshit.
Exactly. Self-serving, man-made bullshit story. This pro-life crap.
Story. It's one of these things we tell ourselves so we'll feel noble. Life is sacred. Makes you feel noble. Well, let me ask you this. If everything that ever lived is dead, and everything alive is going to die, where does the sacred part come in?
Exactly. If everything that ever lived is dead and everything alive is going to die, what is this bullshit? I mean, he's just, he already made the
I'm
argument.
having trouble with that. Because, I mean, even with this stuff we preach about the sanctity of life, we don't practice it. We don't practice it. Look at what we kill. Mosquitoes and flies, because they're pests. Lions and tigers, because it's fun. Chickens and pigs, because we're hungry.
This one's so sad, right? And we breed them into existence.
Pheasants and quail, because it's fun. And we're hungry. And people, we kill people, because they're pests. And it's fun.
This is a really good
You
sketch.
something else? The sanctity of life doesn't seem to apply to cancer cells, does it?
Yeah,
You rarely see a bumper sticker that says "Save the tumors."
it's all bullshit.
Break for advanced melanoma. Viruses, mold, mildew, maggots, fungus, weeds, E. coli bacteria, the crabs. Nothing sacred about those things. So at best, the sanctity of life is kind of a selective thing. We get to choose which forms of life we feel are sacred,
Exactly.
and we get to kill the rest. Pretty neat deal, huh? You know how we got it? We made the whole fucking thing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's a man-made bullshit story. This whole pro-life crap. So, yeah, I think that's enough.